I assure you that today's video will be very entertaining. Tales of suspense and bravery, heroism and... Okay, well I know supply is dry, and for the next few weeks it's gonna be boring. You can't really make stock record accounting and categorizing very sexy. Well, like visiting SRP, let's get the injections done, so that we don't have to suffer the illness of flipples or statements of charges. The US military has quite a few types of codes and categorizations to describe supplies and how to handle them. You will not use most of them, or if you do, it won't be till later in your career. Things like the Controlled Item Inventory Code, the Property Book Identifier Code, and the End Item Codes can become important, but usually not until you're in command or acting as an XO. The two codes that you're more likely to use are the National Stock Number, known as the NSN, or the Line Item Number, or the LIN. The NSN is a code that, predictably, is filled with other codes. It is analogous to a person's social security number in that it is the base identification number for an item. It is used by nearly every system the Army has to get information about the item, or to requisition it. It is made up of 13 digits split up into two parts. First is the Federal Supply Class. The FSC is the first 4 digits, corresponding to a set of supplies or equipment. For example, FSC 2320 will cover most trucks. This number can become important when determining how to account for certain items, but generally it is just used to help categorize equipment. The last 9 digits of the NSN is the National Item Identification Number. Within the NIIN, there's a country code and an item code. As the name implies, the country code indicates what country the item number originates from. The US uses 00 and 01 for its items. It is exceedingly rare that you will have to deal with items from any other country code unless you are working in a NATO or multinational work environment. The item code is the final 7 digits identifying the actual item. Using the NIIN alone, you will be able to identify the equipment. But it is important to have the FSC so you can distinguish between the item you are looking for and other like NIIN items. Although it is uncommon for items to share a NIIN, it does happen. Sometimes, if the equipment is non-standard, or if it is bought locally and placed on the books for accountability, it will have a letter in the NSN. Most of the time, this means that you will not be able to get information on that item. See your S4 or Supply Sergeant if you have more questions about these items. The second code that we will cover is the Line Item Number, or the LIN. The LIN is a 6-character code that represents a similar group of NSNs. It is used to treat collectively all NSNs possessing the functional capacity expressed by the generic nomenclature. What does that mean? We will go over authorizations in another video, but in order to understand this, let's do a once over the topic. Each unit and individual is authorized certain supplies and equipment. Generally, these items are covered in the unit's common table of allowances, and its modified table of organization and equipment documents. When the Army wants to build a unit capable of a certain mission, let's say it's infantry, it will set up an authorization for a certain set of LINs. For example, if the Army thinks that an infantry unit needs protective masks, it will put the LIN for the type of pro mask that the unit requires. It will not dictate the exact model of pro mask, but the category pro mask that will be acceptable to the mission. This allows for the unit to be fielded equipment that meets the mission requirement, while allowing for a limited variance in the exact item that gets fielded for considerations such as availability, size, product generation, and color. Sometimes, due to supply constraints, like items may be substituted for certain LINs. For example, the M50 protective mask is the preferred model for most units. However, the M40 mask is an acceptable replacement for it. So the Army has a database of substitute LINs, or sub-LINs, that are acceptable substitutes for authorizations. Knowing the LIN and NSN of your items is vital to your success, as they are the key to gain information about these items, as well as in knowing exactly what you are authorized to have and what to order. So let's go over the key takeaways of this video. Number 1. The NSN is a 13-digit code made up of the FSC and the NIIN. Number 2. The LIN is a 6-digit code that describes generic categories for items. Number 3. They are the 2 primary codes that the military uses to identify equipment and authorizations. Next time, we are going to review how to use the DA-2062 as an issue document and a receipt of issue. If you enjoyed this video, please click on the subscribe button. And until next time, remember, the Army goes rolling along.